Hello once again. Today we will be creating a diorama that is called Propaganda. The theme came about as we were focusing on a subject that requires a scene that veers away from the typical battle scene and destruction. My objective on this build is to try out a different process, a more subtle and tamed in the paint and weathering process, if you will. An inspiration and personal objective that I was able to muster during a recent scale model competition held in August 2024. This build also incorporates focus on playing with lively colors against the typical earth colors in most dioramas. We were more careful in the overall finish and the minor details that came along with the build. The JAGDPanzer FlammPanzer 38 mid-production Dragon Kit with item number 6845 was released in 2023 and boasted of new parts from its 2020 release counterparts according to scalemates. The overall build was satisfactory and the fit were surprisingly okay, with the exception of the individual track links that had to be assembled with a certain degree of difficulty. Although there were excellent aftermarket tracks for this kit, we decided to use the tracks that came along with the box. The Hetzer tank provided us with the opportunity and flexibility in choosing wonderful combinations of camouflage schemes during its operational usage in the late stages of World War II. The camo scheme chosen was deemed as the best to complement the lively colors for the diorama. Paints used here were a combination of Tamiya acrylics, Gunzi lacquers, and armored Komodo lacquers. Guernsey lacquers still tops the overall satisfactory finish, seconded by the locally manufactured armored Komodo. Paints used in tools and other accessories were Vallejo acrylics and armored Komodo acrylics, while for rust and metal finishes, we used AK interactive pencils. During the weathering process, we reduced the amount of overall body and pin wash with enamels and oils and focused only to render application in specific parts of the kit. This way, I maintained the visibly bright and lively paint camo without having to filter it unnecessarily. This also allowed the overall finish less shiny and more flat. For the weathering coupe de grace, AK interactive weathering products were used to emphasize mud splashes, mud accumulation to achieve both wet and dry effects. Our usual diorama materials, especially the base, would include styrofoam, foam board, paper mache, wood, cardboard, sand, pebbles, sawdust, and tufts. To complement the Hetzer tank, we used aftermarket resin figures such as the Have a Drink figure, set from an old Panther brand, where a lady handing a bottle of wine to a Panzer tank crew leader. We also used the Wehrmacht production film crew figure set, where the figures depict a film director, cameraman, and a staff filming with a motion camera. The French village house was inspired by an existing photo from the web. Sintra board, terracotta tile roofing from an art store, and plaster built the overall structure. As a general rule, I learned from judges when it comes to empty spaces in dioramas, it is a must that the builder must plug in those large vacant spaces in between the kit, figures, structures, and ground. And so, to plug these empty spaces, I opted to fill it with an old 1975 Tamiya Wehrmacht-mounted infantry figure set, and some resins like wooden crates, flower pots, and a lamp post. At the last minute, I decided to scratch build a telegraph post as an added detail in order to spice up the otherwise bland wall of the French house. Besides, telegraph wires were ubiquitous then during the 1930s and 1940s, and it is always fun to see this additional detail shown in dioramas. And here it is, the final product, the build, the diorama entitled Propaganda. Thanks for watching, and please do subscribe.